Broncos country, we are back, we are live, and this is Mic'd Up. I'm your host, Mike Carmellini. Joining me tonight is Alex, Kodiak Broncos, Marcky, Sports Talk Denver. This show is going to be, dare I say, fire. What's up, boys? Welcome to the big stage. Good to have you.
Hey, man, thanks for having us. I'm pumped. I've been looking forward to this all week, and awesome to be doing it with Kodiak, man. So thanks for having us again.
Yeah, man, let's go. What's up, Kodiak?
Yeah, super excited to be here. And like I said, I could have gotten anyone on the show that I wanted. I could have gotten Sertan. I could have gotten Nix. Could have gotten Peyton Manning. Could have gotten Elway. I'm sure that they would have not refused to come on to Mic'd Up Live. But I decided to come on here and share the stage with my good friend Marcky Sports. So huge mile high salute to all of you in Broncos country, and I hope you kick back, relax, and enjoy.
It is
I'm
true,
honored, man.
Yeah, it's true. Elway he's in my DMs begging to be on with Kodiak, but I told him, I said, John, I got Mark, man. You're just going to have to wait, dude. Just have to wait your turn. So it's great to have you guys. We flipped a coin, and I believe Mark won the toss. Is that correct? Test my memory on that.
Tails never fails.
Tails never fails. And yeah, let's go ahead and dive into it then, gents. I think we should get Mark's State of the Union. What do we got here? Is it February or March 20th? Is that about right? So we got ourselves a shiny new linebacker, a new safety, and a weapon in tight end with Engram. What's your State of the Union as we're sitting here today, Mark? What do you got to say to Broncos country?
Yeah, just like you said, it's March 20th. March 20th is a very special day for me for two reasons. So I'll get this one out of the way. First one, today is year number 3. It's me and my wife's anniversary, 3-year anniversary. I'm spending it with y'all tonight. So, but if she was watching, which I doubt she is, and if she ever does, which I doubt she will also, I love you. Happy anniversary, babe. All right. So also, March 20th marks, what is it now? 13 years to the day that Peyton Manning was signed to the Broncos. One of the best free agent signing of all time. And it's almost like in Broncos country right now, I'm feeling that same kind of thrill that we used to, right? When it was the Peyton Manning days. It's finally good to have a team that you're proud of. And gone are those days of, Band-Aid fixes, overpaying for players just to be the laughingstock of the league. Gone are the days of rewarding other teams' players and then letting a lot of the ones that we develop leave, right? And then, speaking of John Elway, gone are the days where our front office executives aren't getting arrested for DUI without any kind of repercussions.
All right.
And other executives are allegedly, let's say allegedly, being accused of showing up drunk to coaching interviews just to satisfy the Rooney Rule. So, it's awesome. It's awesome to have an ownership group that cares about the team, the players, the fans, and you can see that trickle down effect. And in just 2 years, man, it's been an amazing turnaround. I thought free agency was an absolute home run, A+ across the board, retaining the right guys on the team, bringing in Hufanga, Greenlaw, and Engram. It's exciting. It's exciting to have, and exciting to have, obviously Bo Nix building around our franchise quarterback. So the State of the Union right now is positive, man. And if I was, if they were a publicly traded company, just like Jim Cramer says, I would buy right now instead of so many years of sell. So I'm all on board, man. This is awesome.
Let's go. Well done,
bye.
Mark. Kodiak, what do you got to say? What's your State of the Union? Give it to us.
Well done, Mark. So it's crazy what a difference a year or 2, even 3 makes. Because if you remember, a little over 2 years ago, 2 years and 3 months ago, we were literally losing to the Rams 51-14 on Christmas Day. We hit a low point with our franchise, and the very next day, we fired our coach. And after that, it's been nowhere to go but up. Obviously, it started with, maybe it started a little bit before that, when our team was sold to the Walton Penner ownership group. And finally, after so many years of Pat Bowlen building up this amazing franchise and his, right-hand man, Joe Ellis, just running it into the ground and his children just being a completely different nightmare, we finally got everything figured out. And once we were able to figure it out at the very, very top, everything else sufficed because we were able to pay Sean Payton as to be one of the most highest paid coaches in professional sports. And then we were able to find our quarterback. So what a difference a year makes. And honestly, I don't think a lot of people had that high of expectations coming into this year. I know that here in Broncos country, we knew that this team could surprise a lot of people. I didn't even think we were going to make the playoffs, to be completely honest. But just the fact that we did, just the fact that we overperformed national expectations so highly, just the fact that we were playing meaningful football again, just the fact that we were playing exciting primetime football again instead of, just laying complete eggs like we seem to do for so many years after Super Bowl 50. It's absolutely amazing. There are so many reasons why it is an amazing time to be a Broncos fan right now.
Love it. Love it. You guys came in hot. I'm loving it. Well done. Well done. Perfect 10s for both of you.
Let's go.
I gotta chill out with the scoring, man. I'm getting way too
trigger happy.
Way too easy. Yeah, I love putting up points. What can you do?
Who doesn't?
Let's talk about something. I know this is going to come up, but it's kind of the theme of what we're doing here. So good take, bad take. If I said that the Broncos had the best free agency in the AFC West, I'm assuming that's a good take. Kodiak, is that a good take or a bad take?
Oh, it's absolutely a good take, because you look at the other teams in the AFC West. I mean, there really wasn't a lot of substantial moves that the other teams in our division made. I mean, I know the Raiders traded for Geno Smith, and, while Geno is a fine player and he's definitely a big upgrade over anything the Raiders have had, I am glad that we're not the team that's making moves for, Geno Smith types anymore. And, obviously the Chargers, they brought in Mekhi Becton, which, we'll talk about that later. I'm sure, it's part of the reason why I think the Broncos need to shore up that interior. And they did bring in Najee Harris, so they could play some Harbaugh football.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs, they kind of, I know they brought in Fulton, but their main thing was just retaining a lot of their key guys. Like they franchise tagged Smith, and they were able to retain Nick Bolton as well. But then you enter the Denver Broncos, and we had two clear places on the defensive side of the ball that I felt like we needed to upgrade. In December and onwards, our inside linebackers were targeted at a passer rating of 110. For reference, that is Joe Burrow's season-long average passer rating. So when our linebackers were targeted on the field, it was as if the opposing quarterback was playing at the level of Joe Burrow. And, strong safety, free safety, like Brandon Jones today, phenomenal job last year. Yeah. But, his counterpart, PJ Locke, I just felt like he was too big of a liability. I felt like he was, often the result of the other team making a big play. And a lot of the big plays for the other team seemed to go his way. So what did we do? We signed Hufanga and Greenlaw. And not only did we sign Hufanga and Greenlaw, but for our amazingly pathetic tight end room last year, we were able to add Evan Engram too. So with the clear holes that we had on our team, granted, there's still one that remains, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The Broncos, hands down, had the best free agency in the West. Like, there's just nothing else to compare to that. Like, I don't think any of the teams in our division had as strong of signings as we did with our top three in Engram, Hufanga, and Greenlaw.
Yep. Love it. Great take, Kodiak. Mark, what say you, sir?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree. That I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think even Chargers, Raiders, and Chiefs fans would agree with it. What we did was not just fill...
maybe not Chiefs fans.
Yeah, maybe not. That's right. Not. That's true. But what I love the most about it is obviously we're filling huge holes, but we did it with unbelievable players at a really great value. You didn't feel like you had to overpay or you overpaid at all. In fact, I was shocked when I saw a lot of the contract values. But even, I even look at this free agency class as, starting before it actually did, right? When we re-signed Jonathan Cooper and Quinn Miners in PS2, we got ahead of those contracts early. That's huge. It was imperative because it gave us a clear plan going into this offseason. And you're not overpaying for players. Like Max Crosby's phenomenal. He deserved every penny that he got from the Raiders, but they could have gotten him for less had they worked that out prior. Same with if the Chiefs took care of Nick Bolton. So being able to retain a lot of those top tier guys and add, potential all-pro players, all-pro level players, or at least, at the height of their career, that's what they were. And filling in major holes is huge. Making the strength, which is our defense, a bigger strength. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. But yeah. I think, it's also a result of just being in this division. This division is so incredibly competitive, which as a fan, you got to love and hate. Because I think all the teams did a decent job in terms of getting better for sure this offseason. But I think we certainly closed the gap on the Chiefs and arguably the Chargers. Yep. I think we've surpassed them, but yeah.
Well done. Awesome. Close game, 19-18. Let's go. What the?
All right.
I like it. I can see you guys fighting this out.
Yeah.
You guys are going to be arguing
We need to have a
afterwards.
clock, though. So I feel like this is like unlimited, you know?
It is
Am I going to
unlimited.
get a game winner? I know.
Yeah, it's unlimited. It's a cage match with an unlimited size cage because I'm a benevolent host. I believe in giving you time. Of course, I'll buzz you out if I get tired of listening to you. Let's be honest, but I'm not going to do that. Hey, so I've seen your mock drafts. I've been watching you too. I know where your head is, but let's just say for Mike that Hampton and Loveland are sitting there at 20. Mark, you got to take one of them. Which one are you taking?
Colson Loveland. It's a pretty easy choice for me. And mainly because I always look at the draft as value, but also you always have to have a long-term approach when it comes to the NFL draft. It's an investment. It's not like you're looking to date a player. You're not looking to lease a car, right? You're looking to buy it, make that commitment. And historically, running backs really should not be drafted in the first round unless they're unbelievable generational talents, or like Ashton Genty, or you're such a stacked roster that you are, that running back will help you take over the edge, which is very rare, because those teams are usually drafting late and they're not going to be able to get those elite backs anyways. So it's more about an investment thing. I think tight end is still a huge need for this team. Colson Loveland is a perfect fit for what Sean Payton wants from his tight ends, joker role, whatever you want to call it, or just, a player in terms of his ability to open up the middle of the field. And, you look at the best, like who would you say the best GMs in the NFL are when it comes to the draft? I mean, there's a lot that are good in general, but in the draft, and you think about like Howie Roseman, right, Eric DeCosta, Brett Veach. Howie Roseman's never drafted a running back in the first round ever. In fact, over the last couple of years, I think the only running back he's drafted in general was Kenneth Gainwell in the 5th round. So it's always about being able to, talk about the future. And, these guys have a short shelf life. You're typically not going to sign them to a second contract. It rarely happens. So another team will be able to reap the benefits of your pick, aka Saquon Barkley with the Eagles. So this one's the easy one for me. I would definitely take Colson Loveland.
Yeah, I like it. What say you, Kodiak?
All right. Well, I will agree with the sentiment that smart teams do not usually draft running backs high. That being said, as Marky said and alluded to, the best ones, you look at the past few years, like the best ones who have really taken over the NFL, they've all, for the most part, been the high picks. So the NFL is pretty good at scouting that position. You look at Bijan, Saquon, Gibbs, all went early. Even the ultra productive guys like Zeke and CMC, who had some good years, changed their whole offenses when they were drafted. And you could occasionally strike out on a Fournette or a Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But for the most part, the NFL pretty good at evaluating these guys because, the running back that you are in college is pretty much the running back that you are going to be in the NFL. If a guy's a bad receiving back in college, usually not going to develop that part of his game in the NFL. And, Marky talked about if you have a stacked roster, maybe you might be ready for a running back. But guess what? I mean, there's not a lot of holes on this team currently that we need to fill. But what I will say about Colson Loveland, I agree that if I'm deciding between the two, I think Loveland is a better fit. But I do have my reservations about a first-round tight end, much as Marky has his reservations about a first-round running back. So first-round tight end has just been an awful bet for NFL teams over the past 7 years. So going back to 2017, we have guys like O.J. Howard, who peaked at 34 receptions in 2018 and 2019. Then he lost his role to Brait and Gronk. Evan Engram, he was a reliable contributor, but the Giants didn't really want to keep him around long-term. And, if you're not re-signing your first-round pick, I don't really think you can consider that a hit. And then David Njoku, a guy who didn't even break out until his 5th, 6th year. So was that really a hit? And then guys like Hayden Hurst, who was traded in 2 years. TJ Hawkinson, good player, but traded within division. Noah Fant, worth the pick for us? No. Solid player, sure. Kyle Pitts, definitely not worth 4th overall. Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
I mean, first-round capital, no other number 1 targets. Josh Allen's the QB. How are you not getting 10 targets a game? Brock Bowers, absolute demon. Got no issues with the pick whatsoever. But for NFL teams, it's just been really hard to build around a first-round tight end. It's really hard to quantify. It's really hard to see, just with trends and everything, first-round tight end being a reliable bet. So I understand that's my reservation behind it. But I still think Loveland is that guy. I still think Loveland's a demon. So I would have no qualms about the pick. But that's just my argument for if we were to go with someone like Hampton.
Yep. I agree. Some of the same issues with running back in the first round are tight ends in the first round. So I think that part is kind of a wash. And so in this draft, I would take Loveland, and go for one of the Ohio State running backs or something like that. Maybe later, I don't know. So yeah, I'm on board with that. I don't know if it'll come to that, but yeah, we'll see what happens. Let's see.
Well, if it does, it'll be fascinating to look back on this. So we'll see.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it's always fun. It's always fun.
Yeah.
I love the position we're in, and we'll see how it plays out. Mark.
Yeah.
Real Bronco, Dave Studdard or Tony Bickerson?
Wow, Dave Studdard.
Let's go. Well done. Dave Studdard, 79 to 88. He owns Studley's in Centennial, Colorado. It looks like I misspelled Centennial, and I will deduct myself 1 point from my score that I don't keep.
Really?
Nor do I care.
That's close to where I live at. That's cool.
Is it? You have to look that up. You have to look that up.
Go check out Studdards.
I got one for you too, Kodiak. Real Bronco, Derek Lavelle or Seth Jones?
God, when I think about Seth Jones, I think of a hockey player.
Me too. It's exactly what I thought.
All right, you know what? I'm going to go with Seth Jones.
I'm so sorry.
He was on the
Derek
Super Bowl.
Lavelle,
Yeah.
Super Bowl champ, spent 15 months in prison for selling dope.
He was I think he was TD's backup, right?
He was a hell of a running back though. So
yeah,
and you know what? These are kind of random because especially for you, Kodiak, because you just got your driver's license last year.
Yeah, right.
15 years old. So.
Exactly.
Let's be honest. Like I've touched on this with a couple other guys on the show. I did want to hear your guys' thoughts. Greenlaw is obviously the starter. Who's the starter next to him? Is it gonna be Singleton? Are they gonna move on from him later if he's not? Let's just say he's healthy. Let's assume that Singleton is healthy. Sternad comes into play, and then of course the name I shall not mention, who is full of potential and hasn't been able to stay on the field. Mark, let's start with you. Who's going to be the starting inside linebackers for the Broncos this coming season?
Yeah, and there's a possibility it could be none of the guys that we have on the roster, depending on what we do with the draft and all that. But if you're asking me, I think if I was going to, bet on it, I would say it's probably going to be Drew Sanders. And what makes me think that is last year showed a lot that Sean Payton really loves Drew Sanders quite a bit. I mean, they absolutely rushed him back from a Achilles. He never should have been playing. And he was, they kept him eligible. Like realistically, I mean, Josh Reynolds was the reason they cut him to keep Drew Sanders from, going on IR. And that's really telling in and of itself. And the fact that they just kept the roster space open for him and they tried to find out a way for him to play. He was clearly a shell of himself. So when you're in favor with the coaching staff, just based off of actions, there's always a big, benefit there. I think he's finally going to be able to thrive too, like by not having an identity crisis. I mean, for God's sakes, they keep switching up his position, and then on that on top of injuries. So hopefully he can come in, be healthy, have a full off season as a off ball linebacker, and just like you said, the potential or hope is never a strategy, but I like the idea of him, ultimately getting the linebacker position next to Greenlaw. In addition, you got to think, I mean, Gray Greenlaw's strengths are he's very, very good against the run and he's good in the pass. So he's very well rounded, but he's very good against the run. Alex Singleton's a good run defender, but he's terrible in coverage. So you need to have somebody that's at least projects to be better as a coverage linebacker. I think Drew Sanders does that. So I think that puts him at an advantage too. So we'll see.
Yep. Love that answer. Kodiak, what say you?
Yes, if I were to place a bet on who the inside linebacker 2 is next to Dre Greenlaw, I would also go with Drew Sanders just because of the things Marcky had said. This coaching staff, they clearly really like him. They took him early 3rd round in the 2023 draft when they were absolutely bare draft. Like they had almost no draft capital to work with that draft, and they still made a pretty substantial investment in a guy like Drew Sanders, despite the fact that he didn't really play that valuable of a position. But yes, this coaching staff clearly likes him. Like I think they were really impressed with a lot of his ability on special teams, and that's why in 2023, at least his rookie year. And that's why he was able to make his way onto the field last year, because he played, special teams during our playoff run. And the fact that they activated him for the playoff run says a lot. And the fact that they deactivated some players kind of says a lot about them too.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk about later. Yeah. Wink. But no, this coaching staff, they clearly really like Sanders. So the one thing I will say is that I feel like on third down, you don't really need, since the NFL is shifting to more of like a nickel, more of like a dime heavy league, you don't really need more than one linebacker on the field on third downs. At least that's the way the game is trending. So if they decide that they're going to go with run defense, then I think Singleton maybe would be the in-house favorite. But honestly, is there, like, I'm struggling with this. Is there a better chance that Singleton is cut before the season begins, or he begins on this team's depth chart as the inside linebacker too? That's something I have to ask myself and debate. But ultimately, they really like both Singleton and Sanders. But overall, I lean Drew Sanders for this.
Yeah. Yep. I think both of you, your instincts are correct on that. I love Alex Singleton. I wish the best for him, but he's 32 coming up, right? I think 32 coming off that injury. And, we'll see. VJ does like to play vets. So there's that, right? Before we move on, let's make sure everybody knows where we're at. Very close game. Would like to say before we move on, this show is sponsored by Kelly's Country Club. 54804 West Highway 275, voted the best golf course 2 years in a row. Let's go, Kelly's Country Club.
Nice. I'm going to write that down. I got to go play some golf.
Let's go. And a few shows coming up you might be interested in. We've got Zach Stevens and Brandon Cristal. BK will be on Tuesday night next. So tune in for that. And just booked last night or the night before, Ryan Edwards and Coach Mike Sanford will be on the 17th. And then Brandon will say when it is. It's April 7th, but if he changes his mind, I'll just, I'll do whatever he says just because it's Brandon Perna. We're going to get him on the show. That's what we do. Let's get into something here. I had a thought and I lost it. It's on my screen here somewhere. Here we go. I'd like to hear your favorite remaining free agents out there in the wild waiting to be signed. Mark, who could the Broncos use right about now? Tell me it's a running back and maybe a wide receiver.
I was going to say Marquette King, but we ended up signing a punter. No, I'm just kidding. I'd rather have anybody but that guy. There's really two that come to mind that really make sense from a standpoint of filling a need and cost. Number one was Elijah Moore, somebody that I talked about.
Yeah.
I'm really intrigued by a player like him. I think he brings a really good skill set. I think he's a very good receiver. Can play in the slot, can win inside. He's still only like 24 years old and former second-round pick. Obviously, there's a reason he's still unsigned. He's been traded already once in his career. So those are things that you gotta consider. But he would make sense from a value standpoint and just what he could add to this wide receiver room. And then the other one would be J.K. Dobbins, or as Kodiak famously nicknamed him, Jello Knees Dobbins.
I know.
So shout out to you, Kodiak. Because, the reason being is because he's actually a very, very good pass protecting back as well. And that's really what you would need if you're going to bring in a vet to pair up with whatever rookie. But I don't know if he's willing to, come here just to do that role, or if maybe that's what we want. But he can obviously add some juice for the 7 to 9 games you'll probably get him for. He's somebody that can make sense. But otherwise, I'm ready for the draft. And then there's going to be a lot of players that get released after the draft and, after training camp and all that kind of stuff too. So you'll have a lot of different options that can make sense too.
Yep. I still think the Broncos need, I'm not dying on this hill, but I'm on the hill. I still feel like we need a vet running back. Dobbins, that would be great. But if it's not, just give me somebody in pass pro that can protect Bo Nix until we figure that out. And maybe we get Amari in Hampton because I think he can pass pro. And if he can, then, we can cut the guy later. But that's where I'm at. Kodiak, what say you about this? Let's who's out there for you right now?
Well, I'm going to go with the guy that I don't see anybody talking about. So there was a former number 8 overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft who has had Vance Joseph as his defensive coordinator before. And, I'm not saying we should bring this guy in, but for a low risk, medium to high reward pickup, a guy like Isaiah Simmons might actually be good because maybe he needs just a good franchise to find a role. This is what the Philadelphia Eagles do. They find guys, like Becton from the Jets who look completely dead in the water. And what are they able to do? They are able to find a role for him. Now, I understand the gripes of, oh, he's already had Vance Joseph as defensive coordinator. If we're mad about Drew Sanders flip-flopping his position, then we're going to be even more mad when we see how many position changes that Isaiah Simmons has had throughout his career. But maybe, just maybe, he needs a good franchise and a good locker room to find a role. He plays hard on special teams, and I believe he was actually special teams player of the week at a certain point last year. So, because he had that, I think he had that really long fumble recovery, that blocked kick recovery, remember, against Seattle, the Giants had. So I think that was him. So, like I said, maybe he just needs a change of scenery because Miami and not Miami, but Arizona and the Giants, that's probably about as bad as it can get as far as, your first 2 teams in the NFL. So coming into an actual team with an actual culture and an actual identity might be fantastic. And yes, I agree with what Marcky Sports says that we should kick the tires on any free agent running back remaining, particularly Jello Knees Dobbins, as I refer to him. But,
it's so good. It's so good.
I didn't even mean to say. I didn't even.
Oh my gosh!
Like, oh yeah, JK stands for Jello Knees. But so yeah. I mean, I guess
I love it.
I guess you're just bringing in like a third down special, a guy who can just block and won't blow his assignment. Maybe a guy like Deontay Foreman. Like, oh my God, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but maybe Nick Chubb. Maybe
talking about Jello Knees
project, but. Yeah.
Again, though, if depending on why you're bringing them in, it could be fine. So yeah. All right. Well done, both of you. I love it.
And I will say that Trevion Henderson is an elite pass blocker, at least as a college pass blocker. I mean, it's fun. There's like highlights of just him pass blocking. So you never know.
We could sure use it. Yeah. Changing gears though. Here we go. Time to earn your keep.
I love it,
gents.
All right.
So, Marcky.
Yeah.
One. That means you get stack A. That is you. Cool. Stack A.
Right.
Or as my Spanish teacher would say, turn to page number A. She used to say that. I don't know what that means, but she used to say that. My wife can vouch for that.
All right. Number 8. It's number 8.
Turn to page number B. And if you corrected her, it was not something you wanted to do. All right. In my hand are 10 Broncos. Some of them have been on this show before. If you've been paying attention, they will be easy for you. And I apologize for that. Some of them have not. This is your stack over here. This is your stack over here. I'm going to give you 1 minute. We're going to try and get as many as we can, Mark. We are a team now, you and me. Right here. Let's do it. Somebody's going to have to watch the... What happened to my timer? Why is it on 0? Oh, wait, I see. Never mind. Aha, here we go. I don't have my other timer, so we're going to use this one on the screen. If I look up and there's time
I don't see it on the screen, by the way.
Don't worry about it. I'm a professional.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if it was on purpose or not.
Let's go to the screen. Make it easier. A little bigger. All right. Can you guys see the number down at the bottom?
Yep.
Right there. Right there. All right. Kodiak, you watch the timer for us, would you?
Absolutely.
Here we go. All right, cornerback, call him Strap.
Chris Harris.
All right, our wide receiver 1 from last season.
Cortland Sutton.
Oh, we got him from Dallas in free agencies. Offense, outside linebacker, Super Bowl 50 champ.
Randy Gregory. DeMarcus Ware.
Kawabunga, safety from the 49ers.
Talanoa
Just signed him. Okay, greatest running back in Bronco history. Molly Salute. Oh, undrafted running back, Super Bowl 50.
C.J. Anderson.
Let's go. Oh, the greatest tight end in Broncos history, Hall of Fame tight end. Brother just won it all. Oh, my gosh. Oh, cornerback, 06. Oh, he was tragically
Champ
shot.
Bailey, Delta. Darren Williams.
Okay. Our sack leader from last year had a fumble pick
Nick
6.
Benito?
Let's go. And Super Bowl 50 MVP sack leader.
Von Miller.
Joe. Dang it, I screwed you over.
It's
I
all
got
good.
fumbled. 9 out of 10 though. Well done. 9 out of 10. That's good. Let me give you your points here. 52 points. Well done, Mark. I screwed you over. I fumbled that. It's funny because I had some of those before too, and I still fumbled them. Oh, well done. No pressure, Alex. No pressure at all. Get into your. Wait a minute. Let me see if anybody's being nice in here. That needs to be recognized here. Oh, come on. So we've had a few comments on the hat.
Thank you. Branded
I like
Bills.
Marky's hat.
They're branded Bills. Yeah, they're dope. They have really cool stuff.
Unsponsored.
Unsponsored, yeah. I should be sponsored, but I'm unsponsored.
Should be. All right. Kodiak, you ready for this?
Oh, ready as I'll ever be.
Oh, that's not the attitude we want. We want 10 out of 10. You and me. 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10, like Sanders in the background there.
Oh. Well, that's pressure right there. Here we go. Ready? All right. Hall of Fame safety, smiling assassin.
Steve Atwater.
Oh, traded Clinton Portis for this Hall of Fame cornerback.
Champ Bailey.
To be. Okay. Retired jersey with Peyton, quarterback.
Tripuka.
Second round quarterback that Vic hated sent to Seattle.
Locke.
Okay. Defensive lineman. He's our second best defensive player. He needs a contract. High motor
Zach
guy.
Allen.
Oh, just signed him. Tight end. He's our joker.
Evan Engram.
Oh, Super Bowl winning quarterback 50, 2013 MVP.
Peyton
Perhaps
Manning.
the forehead. Oh, rest in peace, wide receiver, Peyton's favorite target. Caught the OT pass.
Barry Thompson.
Oh, your jersey's right behind you. Super Bowl 50, free agent from wide receiver.
Emmanuel Sanders.
Our defensive player of the year. Cornerback.
Patrick Surtain.
Let's go. 10 out of 10, baby.
Nice.
Go. Woo. Love
Hey,
it.
maybe if Drew Sanders is the starting linebacker, you could change the manual. Just put a 41 on there.
Exactly.
And boom.
Exactly.
Save yourself some money.
Yeah, why
Look, I
not?
have a large stack here that's just getting bigger, and I'm just going to keep adding to it and shuffling it. So people who watch have the benefit of maybe knowing kind of where I'm going.
Yeah.
And those who don't can guess it. Well done, you guys. Good job. Good
Nice
game.
job.
What do we got? We got a 56 and a 52. Now, 56. Who's a 56? What was Al Wilson?
Kodiak. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And
Al Wilson.
52 would be
Ian Gold.
Wesley Woodyard. Ian Gold. Good
They
call
played
back.
together. Yeah.
Boom. There's a point. There's a point for you.
Now we
All
got
right.
Romo.
We talked a little bit about this. Any running back scraps out there worth signing? I guess for the purposes we're talking about. Kodiak, what do you think? I know you mentioned Chubb, God forbid, but I mean that's the world we've gotten to. So what else is out there? Anything?
Exactly. Like we've already kind of alluded to this. Like, I mean, J.K. Dobbins, I wouldn't even consider him a scrap because he's some guy that I would actually be kind of happy with signing. But no, like of all the other guys that are out there in the running back market right now, like there's a reason they have not been signed yet. And I would be very, very hard pressed to say that, oh, if we brought in Deontay Foreman, oh, we brought in Amir Abdullah, oh, we brought in like Zeke, the corpse of Ezekiel Elliott, that we be bringing them in for anything more than just to compete for a job on our team, like for a specialized role. And they definitely would not be like a first, second down runner or anything like that. But there's very, very minimal still out there worth signing. Now, I will say that for kind of an extended part of this question, there will be running backs cut in like May, June, July, maybe even up until September. But if they're getting cut in the offseason, like by another team, what would we see in them? What would change about their situation coming here or their talent that we'd be like, yes, we need to kick the tires on them. So I don't know. I just don't really see a lot really changing until the draft for this running back room, at least.
Yeah. Yep. Mark, thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it's going to be one of those post training camp signings, and it could be somebody that has a very specialized role, like what Samaje Perine was a couple years when we signed him, as being a strictly a pass protector, or you can catch the ball out of the backfield. Like somebody that maybe could make sense. I know he had a pretty bad accident, got injured, was Nyheim Hines. He missed all of last year. But someone like that, where I don't know how he is as a pass protector, third down back, but I know he can catch the ball pretty decently out of the backfield. Something like that. But you just like, I think everyone knows, you're not going to find the solution there. You're going to find the solution in the draft, and maybe slight chance one of the guys that's on the roster that kind of pops off. So,
yeah. And that's the hope. That's always the hope, right?
Yep,
hope we drafted
absolutely.
well, hope they develop, hope they become the guy. So we're not talking about this. I guess my whole thing all along has just been, until we know that one of the guys can do it, let's just get somebody in that we know can do it. So, Bo doesn't get killed on third down. I think it's a valuable role. But yeah, well done. Let's go. Here's an interesting one for you. I know the answer to it. Is the starting offense on the roster now?
Starting offense.
Okay. So
for the Broncos,
all
on our
starters
roster right now, if they line up in September.
Oh, I get what you're saying. So with 10 of the positions, I will say yes. But at the running back position, I say no. I say that Jaleel McLaughlin is not going to be our RB starter week 1, because even if you bring in like a 3rd round pick, that's more investment. Even if you bring in a 5th round pick, that's more investment than you have in a guy like Jaleel McLaughlin. And, Audric Estime just has not earned the right, at least at this very point, to be the starting running back week 1. Like maybe he does something cool in training camp. Maybe he has an awesome offseason. Maybe the coaches like what they see from him to give him that opportunity. But no, even though Sean Payton is rather reserved when it comes to playing rookies, if he has to play a rookie, like we saw with Nix, like we saw with, like we've seen with a handful of guys throughout his career, if a guy like a Kamara-esque dude can earn his way onto the field, then that's the result we will, then that's the direction we'll be headed as well. So 10 out of 11, yes, I say yes. But RB1, no.
Yep. Mark?
Yeah, definitely not running back. I would say, I fully agree with that. But just as a potential, like if you're going to really dive into, where can a change be made? It might be at center to replace Luke Wattenberg. I think you got to give him a lot of credit for how much better he's gotten. And I think he showed really good things and bad things last year. But I think, you end up falling in love with one of these, these centers coming out of the draft, and it's a full-blown competition. He's definitely somebody that can get beat out. So that would be maybe the only other possibility. But otherwise, I think 10 out of 11 are definitely a lock.
Yep. Yeah. I think it might be more. I like that Jay Weaver chimed in with that center position same time as you did.
Oh, did he? Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. If you don't know who Jay Weaver is, nothing rhymes with orange and blue. Fantastic show. In fact, I've got him coming on. Geez, put me on the spot. Cam Parker from MHRT and Jay on the 27th. That's
Nice.
next Thursday.
Let's go.
Can't wait to have you on, Jay. Here we go. I love that answer. I agree. I think Wattenberg probably starts. I'd be surprised if they find somebody else in time to do that. But definitely, I think running back is.
He just needs to learn to snap the damn ball straight. I mean, I can't tell you not how many times I noticed it during the season, but going back and like watching a bunch of different position players, Bo's catching the ball like this. I don't know if he prefers it.
I know,
but he's always reaching. I'm like, good God, just get it right to the poor dude. It's crazy.
I know. Guys, where's the hole in the defense now? Is there one? Holy crap. Like, we fixed the guts, like right up the spine, as Mace would say. Like, I don't know, man. I mean, I know depth, and I'm not talking about depth, so I don't want to hear about depth. I want to talk about 11 guys on the field. Where's the hole? Some are stronger than others, but I don't see a hole, Mark. Where do you see? Where's the hole
I
in
don't.
the defense?
I don't either.
On? Who are you picking on the defense?
I mean, you're going to pick on Riley.
You're
going to pick on Riley Moss.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're going to pick on Riley Moss naturally because you ain't going to go the other side of the field, right? So that's why it's always a really important position to have somebody opposite. But, I'm good with it. If Riley Moss stays healthy, I'm good with quarterbacks continuously trying him because he's shown that he's gonna make plays at time, that really swing the pendulum of the game. And he's tough-minded, man. He bounces back. I love his game. So You make a good point. I mean, we really do not have any holes on the starting roster as it is right now. It is locked and loaded, man. I love it.
Yeah, me too. Kodiak, what do you got?
So if you look at the 2 games that we played really poorly in this year, it was because Buffalo and Baltimore, they just ran the ball. They just ran the ball down our throat. And while I am not concerned about our run defense against the bottom feeders of the teams that come in here, that come into Denver and can't get anything past our defensive line, I am concerned about our run defense, and particularly the nose tackle position when we are playing those tough games against teams like Baltimore and Buffalo, because now it is our job, with us being a playoff team, to chase those teams and figure out what we can do differently next year, so that inevitably when we have to play in these tough games, we can fare much better than we did this past year. So I think if there is one hole in this defense, it is that we are relatively undersized. And when I talk about that, I'm talking about on the defensive line, and particularly at nose tackle, because I know that Jones and Roach kind of share those responsibilities of that position throughout the year in general. But I think that, nose tackle is a very, very sneaky need. And I know that a lot of people have really been talking about it as like a first round potential pick for this team, myself included. Dropped the video today, go check it out. But so did Mark. But overall, that's the hole in the defense. Like, passing the ball, forget about it. You're not getting anything on our team. You're not getting anything. I mean, inside linebacker too, I guess. But once again, that's going to be seldom, with Greenlaw being our every down guy.
Yeah, I agree. I thought it was interesting that DJ got, I'm not sure if I got that, he actually got the biggest contract even out of all the big signings we just did. Like, they took care of him, so they really like him. But a true nose tackle, big monster in the middle would be, gosh, I don't want to say need, but I'm going to say want. Like, and maybe it is a need. I haven't thought enough about it, and I don't pretend to be an analyst. I'm just the best host in the world. I'm not an analyst. That's your job. So I'll defer to you guys on how I like these guys.
So Jeremy?
Oh, I see. Yeah, I do. I actually know who that person is now.
Yeah,
I'm new to that guy. I remember when I was asking, I was like, "Hey, who was that other guy? His name was Sean or something."
Yeah,
like, no, it's like Jeremy. And I'm like, "Well,
it's
where
Jeremy
did I get
Sean.
Where am I? It's Jeremy Sean. Okay, so I get it now. Hey, let's a couple of quick hits here. The Broncos better than the Chargers. They swept us last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
Did we not lose both games to them? Are we better than them this coming season? Mark, go out on a limb and tell me if we're going to be better than them next season.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think so. And it's not just me
right.
being
Know your
optimistic. Yeah. I mean, I certainly do. It's not just me being optimistic or looking through this like with orange glasses, but I think, for us, they kind of taught us a very valuable lesson, right? I mean, they don't have more talent, I wouldn't say, than we did, but they had a physical, just wear you out type of style of football, and it just broke us down because of the weakness, like you said, right up the middle. Yeah. So I think by shoring that up, it's helpful, and then hopefully being able to run the ball a lot more consistently this year, I think we won't have much troubles with them, because our defense has shown that it can stop anybody when it's on, but the offense is what struggled to just be able to get things going right when the offense started scoring a lot, the defense couldn't stop them. So it's just one of those things. I mean, Jim Harbaugh is a hell of a coach, and he gives Sean Payton a lot of fits, but I think absolute worst case scenario, we split. There's no way we're losing twice again to him this year.
Yeah, let's go. That's right. Know your host. Extra points for knowing your host. Alex, what say you? Be nice.
Of course. Yeah, I think we're better than the Chargers. Like, I think if you look at our roster, we have a just flat out better roster than the Chargers right now, especially considering that we are going to, be adding a running back. And honestly, I feel like that's what completes this team, because that's the one position that we're really lacking. That's the one position that you highlight, circle, star, square. You're just like, oh, talent-wise, how do the Broncos fare? Not even with the Chargers, but the other teams in the AFC. So yes, I do think the Broncos are better than the Chargers, but the Chargers, they're pretty, like, what I will say about the Chargers in relative to us is I don't think they're more talented than we are, but they are a they're a pretty tough matchup for us.
Yeah.
And it really came to light this past year because, our inside linebackers, they played terribly in both games. I think if we had any semblance of a real offense that could actually sustain, like our second half offense against the Chargers in that Thursday night football game just went completely limp. I don't know what changed going from the first half. We were running the ball down their throat. Sean Payton wrote "run it" at the top of his sheet, and we stopped running it.
We stopped running it.
Yeah, even after Estime and even Watson were just driving it down the field, down the Chargers' throats. But yeah, we just need a more sustained offense. We need to be able to cover the Chargers tight ends. Like, it absolutely drove me nuts that there was a guy who I'd never even heard of, like Stone Smart, that went 3 for 50 against us. And,
I'm deducting a point for you bringing that up.
So, all right.
Yeah,
of course. But
they're
a very tough matchup. They're a tough matchup, but we're more talented than we are.
Yeah, I agree. Actually, good takes, both of you. Get the horns for that. I want to go back to Richie Rich. So he thinks that nose tackle is definitely a need, not a want. I could be talked into that. I will say that I didn't like teams running it up the guts on us, but I have a feeling that our inside linebacker and safety position upgrades are going to help that a lot too. So let's see what that looks like before we freak out. If we happen to grab, and I hope we do somewhere in the draft, an interior defensive lineman, we'll see what that does. But yeah, I get it. And I do not want Colson Loveland going to the Chargers. I don't either. That's a good point. I don't want anybody going to the Chargers. I didn't want Najee Harris going to the. Isn't that where Najee Harris went?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny. Last year, I was so excited when they passed on Brock Bowers. Like, they took Joe Alt, which was a really good pick. I'm like, all right, thank God. I just didn't want to have to deal with him. And then he goes to the Raiders. I'm like, oh, cool. That's what we do.
Is Tyler Warren? We don't like to draft first round tight ends, but that guy's worth a first round pick, right? He's a first rounder. He's clearly
bona fide.
And I know that we're all excited because of what happened with Brock last year, but Tyler Warren looks like a real deal to me. But what do I know? I don't know anything. Here's what I know. It's time for the big debate, guys. Let's talk about. I've let a few other people do this. I might do this one more time, and then we'll move on to a different one. But I did want to hear from you guys. Mark, you won the toss. You're first. Rank the AFC West quarterbacks first to last.
All right. So can I ask a question so are you looking at moving forward? Like, if I was going to start a franchise today, or are you going to take the full body of work? I guess if it's up to me to determine, that's fine too.
I'm deducting a point for asking me a question. Okay.
That's fine.
So
I need clarity.
Okay. I'm a simple person, Mark. I'm not a complicated individual.
Yeah.
I'm asking you to rank the quarterbacks going forward. I don't want to start about like if you were going to start a franchise now, because then that would definitely, push older quarterbacks out. But I would say if you were, let's say, to clarify it for a numbers guy, like who's going to have the best season next year, and you can quantify that any way you want. Okay.
I would rank him Patrick Mahomes, Bo Nix, Justin Herbert, and Geno Smith. So starting at the top, Patrick Mahomes, we obviously get it. He might arguably go down as the greatest of all time. I personally never witnessed a quarterback that can make a lot of the plays that he does, and couple that with his winning mentality. So he deserves his flowers there. He's a beast. The reason I would definitely rank Bo Nix over Justin Herbert is because Justin Herbert is this guy. We've seen these types of players in the league for so many years. Oozes with talent, but he just doesn't really have any sort of an it factor. He folds when it really matters. No one ever is terrified to play up against Justin Herbert. I like the dude. He seems like a really nice guy. It's just something is always missing with him. Something. You had a 27-0 lead against Jacksonville Jaguars, and you blow it. Very Charger thing to do. So, and I just feel like he's maxed out, right? And the injuries should still be a concern. So that's why I would rank Bo Nix ahead of him. Bo Nix, obviously, I just feel like we saw so much from him as a rookie with so little around him.
Yeah.
It's not anything that you can sit there and just, close your eyes to. There's still surprisingly so many haters. Like, he was the 6th quarterback. It's like, who? I never understand it. I don't care. He showed that he's poised. He got better every single week. When he made a mistake, he didn't usually make it again. He's got an incredible ability to escape, make plays with his legs. He played half the season with a broken back. Yeah. Still throwing dimes down the field. Every narrative that was basically talked about Bo Nix was erased this year. And I only see him getting better, right? I only see him getting better against when facing pressure. I only see him getting more accurate as he starts to finally clean up his footwork. That all came. So yeah, I mean, Bo Nix definitely number 2. Justin Herbert, we talked about 3. And then come on, let's face it. I mean, is Geno Smith a good fit for the Raiders where they're at now with Pete Carroll? Yeah, but I don't really have to say much more. He's absolutely he's not in any tier of any of the other 3 quarterbacks. So Geno Smith is definitely number 4.
Yeah. Geno doesn't move the needle for you, apparently.
No.
Kodiak.
Not at all.
Rank them. Let's go.
All right. So, I mean, with Patrick Mahomes, like, obviously, we're going to put it at 1. Okay. You can't really argue with 3 Super Bowl rings. But at the same time, like, he's been, like, wildly pedestrian the past 2 years as the Chiefs are kind of going through an offensive identity crisis and not really determining on what they want to be. Now, for a second quarterback, yeah, I'm going to take Bo Nix. The reason I'm going to take Bo Nix is because Justin Herbert has been in his career for, 5 years now? Yeah, 2020. Okay. So 5 seasons now, and the furthest that he and Bo Nix have gotten their team to the exact same spot in the playoffs. Like, Herbert's ceiling, as far as the quarterback right now, his ceiling is a wild card round exit. And I'd be very disappointed if we were to look into 5 years into Bo Nix's future, and as we peaked at a wild card exit because the game against the Texans this past year, the game against Jacksonville where they blew a 27-0 lead or wherever it was. So yeah. Now, Bo Nix, just absolute dog. Like, the fact that we had no run game, the fact that we had no intermediate passing game because of the weapons, the fact that we could pretty much only throw deep, and the fact that he has such insane rushing ability that we didn't even know existed until he came out of college. Never really tried to tell us that, he was a check down merchant, and then he has the 3rd most completed passes in the league that are 20-plus yards down the field. Just absolutely insane dimes every single week. And, Geno Smith, he is a fine quarterback. Like Marky said, I wouldn't have any qualms about the Raiders making a move for him if I was a Raiders fan. But, for that team, I just don't think that he's going to be anything close and provide anything close to the level of play that Bo Nix or Justin Herbert or Patrick Mahomes do. But, yeah, so Nix at number 2. Obviously, that's going to be the, highlight of that ranking. But, yeah.
Well done, gentlemen. I think the line of demarcation is right at Herbert and Bo Nix, depending on how you look at it. And Mark, you were right to question me a little bit, like, what are we doing here? But I mean, you can argue it any way you want, but for me, I think it's going to be Mahomes at the top, and it's going to be Geno at the bottom, and then those 2. But we're Broncos here, so it's Bo Nix. And let's see. Let's do some last-minute adjustments. I kind of like this score right here. I think I got to go with Kodiak tonight. I do. I like his energy. I like his fire, his want. I think he just wanted it more, Mark. What do you think? What do you say to Kodiak? I think you guys – honestly – it's mic'd up. We know the deal here. We're just having fun. But I mean, you gotta feel good for the guy. He came in here. He kicked ass. He had all the right answers. He knew how to play to the host.
He did.
Mark.
Yeah.
Mark,
he didn't ask. He didn't ask follow-up questions.
That's right. You got like 2 deducts, or you would have won 89. That'll teach you.
It'll teach me,
Mark.
Don't ask questions. Just react. No, man. Anybody that is watching right now that doesn't follow Kodiak, do yourself a favor and go do that, man. He's got awesome content, extremely knowledgeable. He's funny. So if there's anyone, I'm usually a sore loser, but tonight I'm super happy, man. He deserves it. No, and yeah, it was awesome.
Definitely. Let's do this real quick. Let's actually, Mark, let's start with you. I'm not real good at this YouTube crap, so I'll post when I repost this. It looks like our Twitter. I don't know if my Twitter was running the X live. I don't know if it was actually running tonight. Might have been a problem or something. I couldn't find it on Twitter, but anyways, we'll repost it if it wasn't. But for everybody watching and everybody that's going to watch later, them a rundown, Mark. Where are you at? Where can they find you? And you post so often that I know there's not like set times, but it seems like you're on every time I pull up YouTube. So tell the folks where they can find you.
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube. Obviously, my handle is at Marcky Sports Denver. That's where I post most of my content. I'll retweet it on my Twitter as well. But yeah, I mean, if you love Denver sports, I always say, and if you love the NFL draft, that's really what I focus mainly on. I never edit any of my videos. I don't even go in there with any kind of an agenda. I just, something pops in my head. I'm like, sweet, let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So I don't have to annoy my wife later, essentially. So yeah, I mean, if you just love to have a good time and come and interact with me in the comments, I love it. And then on Twitter, sometimes it's me just kind of, I'm not going to lie, sometimes I kind of like to troll a little bit on Twitter. So don't take me seriously on Twitter. But it's Marcky _sports on Twitter if you want to have a good time there too.
Marcky lost to a blocked field goal.
Yeah.
That's messed up.
Yeah. I feel like I'm like, oh, shouldn't ask questions.
Yeah, it's crazy. I've been reviewing podcasts and shows for, I don't know, over 3 years now, I guess. And it's crazy how I still find like great content creators out there. What it says to me is that it's just like, it's hard to get people to find you. And then once they find you, you're good, right? They kind of latch onto you and you get going. And I was super psyched that I found both of you guys. And Cody, love your stuff too. You're a lot like Marky, where you'll just come out like I never know when you guys are going to be on, and there you are. And I always try and tune in when I can. Tell the folks a little bit about what you've got going on and where they can find you, please.
Yeah, of course. So if you guys aren't familiar with my style, I was watching a lot of sports YouTubers. I've watched a lot of sports YouTubers over the years that have like put something visual on the screen. And, I just have notes in a Google slide that I just go over. And if you just want something that's chill, laid back, easy to listen to, and easy to watch as well, then go check out my content. So you can find me at Kodiak Broncos Podcast on YouTube. I commented a lot in here in this live, and I will comment in the replay again. So if you guys want to check out my channel, just click on there. And if you want to follow me on Twitter at Kodiak Broncos, like I rarely post on Twitter, but I only have 70 followers on Twitter. But hey, if I want to continue building this, and if I want to eventually do this for a living, then it would mean a lot to me if you guys follow me on there as well, because I want to keep building my brand, hopefully keep building those connections, and eventually be one of the premier voices of Broncos country. Yeah.
And well, you're already on your way. I think both of you are. I know for a fact that I don't know if we can talk about it yet, but we're all going to be on a certain show next month, right? That's happening, isn't it? Do I remember that correctly? And looking forward to that with you. So your voices are definitely being heard, and I loved having you guys on. And I would hope that you guys would be willing to come back on again. In fact, I need you to commit publicly in front of Broncos country right now that you'll come back on. Mark, talking to you. You're muted. That's another point. You just lost your easy ed.
My bad. My dogs are kind of making noise. If you'll have me 100%, I'd love to be on, man.
You guys are great. I loved it. And we'll definitely have you both back on. I really enjoyed the show. And if you guys, Kodiak, do you have a mic drop for everyone out there? Any subject you want to talk about? Anything you feel strongly about that you just want to get off your chest? Now's your chance.
I mean, if I'm going to drop the mic, this is mic'd up live, and I don't think that I'd be able to come on here and, just not drop the hammer on something. So how many years in a row has it been that the Chiefs have won the AFC West? 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 8. Yeah. 8 or 9?
I think 9 years.
I'm here to tell you, it's not going to be the case next year.
Let's go.
Not going to be the case next year. Playoff game at Empower Field. Not sure what seed will be, but as the Chiefs keep descending and the rest of the league keeps catching up to them, and their personnel, whatever, is not good enough to be overcome by Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes anymore, and Travis Kelce just keeps, putting his priorities away from football, and he keeps declining. I think he's at the ripe age of 35 now, which for a NFL player, that's absolutely prehistoric. So as the Chiefs continue to descend, we are going to ascend, and we are going to host a playoff game at Empower Field next year. Division champs, 2025 division champs. That is my Kodiak mic drop.
Let's go.
Let's go. Ending it strong. Everyone,
go.
that's how you do it on Mic'd Up. That doesn't get any better than this, guys. Mark, Kodiak, guys, thanks so much for coming on. What a great show. What a great night. We'll see you guys all. What did I say? What day is this? Thursday? I'll see you guys all Tuesday night back on this show. Until then, guys, follow these two. Follow me. Please like and subscribe. It helps us all a lot. We're trying to grow in the community. Thank you to everyone that in the chat that came in. It's always a pleasure. And until next time, go Broncos, everyone.